Tonight on CTV News, we're covering how voting has fared in Larimer County.
Then stick around because we have updates on COVID testing sites, Halloween, and the Old Town Lights. All that and more on CTV News starting now. Welcome, Rams. I'm Kenneth Fredrick, and welcome to CTV's Halloween special.
I'm Sophia Ridley, here with Brother Kenneth of the CTV fraternity. Let's see what he has to say tonight.
Fort Collins has had a prominent politician visit locals ahead of the election next week. Tom Perez, the chairman of the Democratic National Convention, came to visit and talk with local Democrats about getting out and voting.
Thank you. Jeff, you all set with time?
With the election less than a week away, politicians on both sides of the aisle are kicking into a new gear to put as much effort as possible into getting their candidates elected. Tom Perez, who chairs the Democratic National Convention, made a stop in Fort Collins on Tuesday with Democratic Colorado Congressman Joe Neguse to help raise support for Democratic candidates.
And I'm here because we got the most important election of our lifetime coming up next Tuesday, and we want to make sure Democrats win up and down the ballot.
Residents were filling up the parking lot outside of the Larimer County Democratic Party building. They were picking up signs and stickers before the chairman and the congressman arrived. Once Perez and Neguse arrived to the event, they got busy talking to constituents right away, asking if they had voted and talking about how the party was doing. Perez also had a lot to say about why young voters should be concerned about the Republican Party and the current president.
And frankly, Donald Trump is counting on young people to stay home because he knows that young people want to make sure that people have access to health care. He knows that young people care about climate change. Young people want to make sure that everybody has civil rights protections.
The two politicians spent most of their time talking about the importance of people going out to vote. Congressman Neguse stressed this fact quite a bit.
Democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires active, robust engagement from our citizens. And the best way to do that, in my view, is to exercise your right to vote.
Both of the politicians personally couldn't stress enough how important the younger generation going out and voting is. As election season comes to a head, politicians all over the country will be waiting to see how many young citizens will turn out for what Chairman Perez called the most important election of our lifetime.
With a pandemic going on, the fear that there could be a lack of voters was a very real concern for candidates across the board. However, as November 3rd soon approaches, Larimer County has proved nothing will stop its citizens from casting their vote. Over 128,000 ballots have been returned as of yesterday morning, meaning over 52% of all registered voters in Fort Collins have participated in the upcoming election. This is nearly double the turnout at this time 4 years ago in the 2016 election. Colorado has been breaking early voting records since ballots were sent out at the beginning of October.
After nearly a foot of snow in some areas in Fort Collins over the weekend, UC Health is having to work on opening alternative COVID testing sites. The storm proved testing in the elements was not ideal for northern Colorado. According to the UC Health spokesperson, Kelly Tracer, a safer location for wintertime testing operations that would hopefully avoid weather-related closures in the future. The testing site, located at the Medical Center of the Rockies, was closed Sunday, and all patients were redirected to the Harmony Road location. However, as this site, as well as others, was closed due to weather inconveniences. As of Tuesday afternoon, all drive-through locations near and within northern Colorado will remain open.
As of yesterday afternoon, Larimer County was added to the high-risk group of cities across the country that are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. The county's health department showed that of every 100,000 residents, roughly 230 people have tested positive. This ratio is over the 5% clip level set by the state, which means that officials will be looking to take additional actions to limit the spread of the coronavirus. This all comes after the county issued an emergency order focused on slowing coronavirus in youth recreational sports and office workplaces. Last week, if the actions taken did not lessen the pandemic's effects, future and stricter guidelines will be set in place.
Yeah, I know that I'm definitely following those guidelines, definitely trying not to get COVID.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to wear my mask. I'm trying to constantly look at the ordinances that are being updated through the city, and yeah, I think it's really smart.
Absolutely. The city of Fort Collins is still on the lookout for a shelter for the homeless on cold days to come. But after an emergency ordinance passed on Tuesday, the Westminster Presbyterian Church will become a day shelter until the summer of 2021. The shelter will hold up to 75 people during the days that get winter storm warnings or don't get above freezing temperatures. Between the new shelter and 2 other locations, most, if not all people, will be able to find accommodation. There will also be an overnight shelter opening on Monday that could hold up to 150 people in Fort Collins that don't have a place to stay on cold nights.
For many of us in Fort Collins, our skies have been filled with smoke and our cars covered in ash in recent months. For one firefighter, he lost his home to the fires while saving others. After a decade of building his dream home, volunteer firefighter Taylor Clifton lost his home to the Camera Peak fire. Clifton was digging fire lines around another house, and due to the lack of Wi-Fi in the area, he was not able to activate his home sprinkler system to fight the fire on his very own property. And although he lost everything but an old tractor, he was happy he helped prevent others from suffering the same loss.
David Gatton, a Larimer County man, chose to plead no contest to a Class 4 felony of extortion. The district attorney's office dismissed 2 other charges, a Class 4 and a Class 6 felony. This comes after Gatton admitted to sending texts threatening to commit shootings at 2 schools in March of 2019. He will undergo the pre-sentence investigation report before the hearing scheduled for December 23rd of this year.
With Halloween this weekend, I spoke to students on campus about how they plan to safely celebrate the holiday. This year, the scariest part of Halloween aren't the ghosts or ghouls, but the spread of coronavirus. Some students are so scared, they're leaving Fort Collins for this holiday weekend.
I will be fleeing Fort Collins over Halloween weekend because I actually think it's a really big problem, and I think people need to be safe and make smart decisions, especially within our community.
So my friends and I are going away for the weekend. We booked a cabin up in Breck, so we're all just going to go there for the whole weekend and kind of avoid plans here in Fort Collins.
With house parties going on and bars being packed, the risk of spreading and contracting COVID are definitely concerning.
You know, it's kind of scary just because, like, we're all going back to our families probably for Thanksgiving, and so it's just kind of scary to think that, you know, people are going to be going home after Halloween to their homes on Thanksgiving, and they could be passing it to all of their different home states and stuff.
Larimer County Health and Environment has public health orders that limits gatherings to 10 people from 2 separate households. Failure to comply with this can result in a Class 1 misdemeanor, fines, and even imprisonment. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention continue to encourage the public to social distance, wear masks, and avoid situations that can lead to an outbreak. Have fun, be safe, and have a happy Halloween. With coronavirus in mind, Larimer County is constantly keeping local ordinances updated.
I don't know about you, Sophia, but I'm a bit of a nerd. I'm going to be spending my Halloween playing D&D. What about you?
I'm going to be more of like a dog mom nerd where I'll just probably be hanging out with my dog all night. I'll have a bowl of candy out for trick-or-treaters because I'm in a family-friendly neighborhood, but it's going to be quiet for me this weekend.
It sounds like an awesome plan.
Yeah.
Even though the decisions on developing the Hughes Stadium property are now out of the hands of the city of Fort Collins, Colorado State University's Board of Governors are moving ahead with work on the area. After negotiations between CSU's Board of Governors and the city of Fort Collins failed, the Board of Governors are now moving ahead with their plan to develop the land on their own terms. They plan to put over 600 homes and apartments for the university's low-income employees. There is, however, a petition put forward by a local group to put a ballot measure in the spring for the city to buy the property at market price in order to keep the area entirely open space.
With all that COVID is canceled, many Fort Collins residents have been holding their breath and crossing their fingers, hoping the city lights would still go up. We'll hope no further. The lights will be twinkling across Old Town very soon. Although there won't be a large ceremony celebrating the annual lighting event due to gathering restrictions, the lights will be put up and turned on in waves. They should be lighting up the night by early November and will remain to brighten up Fort Collins until February 14th.
Well, Rams, thank you so much for tuning in to our Halloween special.
Tune in with Angel Cooper up next.